Lots of focus on the kind of response those T-bill auctions were going to have on the 91, 182 and 1 year levels. Take us through the kind of subscription rates we saw at yesterday's auction.
Morning, and thank you for having me this morning. The auction actually took place on Wednesday. The settlement was for yesterday, Thursday. We saw huge subscriptions across all the maturities between 91, 182 days and the 1 year. In total, over 400 billion was subscribed to on those maturities, and CBN eventually sold about 183 billion in total. For the 91 days, it printed at 14%, no big difference from where it printed at the last auction at 14.1, while the 182 day printed at 14.94. That one dropped about an average of 10 basis points from the last auction, while the 1 year saw a whopping 50 basis point drop from the last auction, which printed at 15.57, and this one printed at 15.07. And the reason being the amount or the total number of subscriptions that we witnessed in that window coming from both the local investors and offshore investors.
So we've got the central bank managing to hit its target of 183 billion over on that end. That offshore interest I mentioned earlier, some of it coming through and providing nice support for the NAIRA specifically. I mean, let's take a look at that kind of offshore interest specifically that you're seeing now relative to local interest in this market, Steve.
Well, the offshore interest for the past few months has actually been on the high. We've seen them invest in or show some kind of fresh interest in the frontier market, and the reason for that is actually because you've seen the reserve growth from between 33 billion and 34 billion open at the beginning of this year to about 36 billion currently, and you've seen that the exchange rates have actually been very stable in the secondary market and even on the official windows. That has actually given them some kind of confidence. And if you look at the global risk generally, I think global risk has actually improved in the world, and that explains the reason why we're seeing some kind of resurgence from the offshore guys into the market.
Strong enough support then for the NAIRA? I mean, what kind of activity are you expecting on that forex front as we move into next week?
I don't think there's going to be any major surprise coming through on the exchange in the secondary market. If you look at it open at the beginning of this week, they opened at around 57, 60, 70, touch a low of 157, 20, 30 during the course of the week on the back of the inflows from some offshore guys and even the oil companies. And thereafter, we've seen it trade around 157, 50, 60 currently in the secondary market. Going forward, I don't think there's going to be any major surprise in that market. Markets will remain relatively stable. There will be support around the 157 levels, and probably if demand comes through, actually could see it touch probably between 157.70 and 157.80.